All right, so today's scripture comes from Matthew 11:28 through 30, and it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So I want to say this because when I used to hear my yoke is easy and my burden is light, I would have a visceral response. I'm like, that did not describe my walk. I felt like the burden that God gave me was so heavy and so weighty. You see, ever since I became a Christian, the Lord has just had this press on me, this fire on me. He asked me to do things that I didn't see the common Christian having to do. I was asking Christians about some of the things that the Lord was having me do, thinking that we were going to share similar experiences, and it wasn't the case. My pastor actually told me at one time, she said, "It's because God has something he wants you to do. He's leading you somewhere." So with that being said, I was at a place where the Lord had to teach me over time how to allow his yoke to be easy, his burden to be light. Because I want you to hear this part. It says, "Learn from me." Learn from me. See, we have to learn how to enter into God's rest. You see, you could be surrendered to God as far as you know. You could be following God. You could be seeking God. You could be moving in every step that God gives you and still not have peace or rest about it, and could still be moving like this, where you're moving from thing to thing to thing and struggling and striving to try to get everything done. I realized at one point that something was wrong, that I wasn't doing something right, and I wasn't doing something right because I felt so anxious. You ever feel like that, where you're doing the things of the Lord and you're trying your best to yield, to allow him to help you to be able to do it, and you feel oftentimes that the Lord is moving in and through you, but still you can acknowledge that you have not entered into God's rest. You have not entered into God's peace, that you don't perceive God's yoke as being easy and his burden being light. Like, that's not your reality. I want you to understand what must be done, and it is surrender. It is surrender. You see, we only know surrender at a certain level, and God has to show you there's still more things that you're holding on to that you haven't surrendered. And God needs to reveal that to you. You see, we'll have in our natural minds that there are things that need to surrender. We will have within our very spirits, our very souls, being convicted that there is something that we need to give up. There's something we need to release. There's something that we need to do differently. But we don't understand that God requires all. You don't realize that even when you do surrender, your adversary, the devil, is on a prowl, looking for whom he can devour. And he's coming right back around to instill more fear, more doubt, more insecurity. You see, the Lord had to tell me, he had to say, the reason why you're moving around like that is because there's something in you that's still of fear. There's something in you that's still of doubt. There's something in you that still says that you have to do everything, and if you don't do everything just right, it won't get done. There's still something within you that is not trusting me with it. This was something I had to continually take back to the Lord, because I was like, Lord, I'm surrendered. I'm seeking. I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. You see, what I needed to do was seek God for how I needed to surrender, because I had this concept of what surrender was, but the Lord had to give me a strategy. The Lord had to tell me, I need you to do this. Now I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And I'm going to tell you specifically because he just said I can. So one of the things God told me to do is, he said, you want to have a gentle and quiet spirit, you need to invite quiet into your life. You need to surround yourself with things that are gentle. People, music, forms of entertainment, etc. How can you have a gentle and quiet spirit when your environment is chaotic and noisy? So he said, you need to cut out a lot of the noise in your life and be in stillness. One of the things he told me to do is, you need to fast. Oh yeah, that'll cut all that road runner stuff out. That'll slow you down. That'll get you to stop talking so much. That'll get you more calm. You need to fast. Another thing that the Lord told me to do was to stop listening to all these prophetic words. See, you're seeking me, you want understanding, you like my word, you appreciate it, but the devil's all in that, creating this roller coaster ride of emotions. He's actually moving you around like a puppet based off of these prophetic words that are not of me. Many of these prophets are not sent by me. Stop listening to them. And those are only a few of the strategies that God gave me in order to start calming myself and entering into his rest and entering into his peace. You know, the final thing I'll say that he told me to do is, you got to trust me. You got to simply act on my word. And once when you act on my word, trust that it's enough. Give up trying to seek out the job, the money, the ministry, the stability, the security, and all of this stuff. Give that up. Lay all of that down and just be content in me, and all of that stuff will come. If you could lay that stuff down and just be content in me, you will again be able to find yourself entering into my peace and my rest. You see, you can be following God, but still be stressed and overwhelmed. And I need you to know that Jesus did not die on the cross for you to knock out your to-do list and for you to knock out that to-do list in perfection, in greatness. God desires your very heart. God desires your surrender. God desires your obedience. Leave the rest to God. See, be content where you are in the Lord. It's not to say that you don't have high expectation. It's not to say you don't press towards the high calling. What it is to say is that you trust God with whatever outcome shall be. You trust God with your needs, with your concerns, the God that ordered the whole universe, that the whole universe is at his command, can take care of your life. Trust him with it. Operate in that trust, in that assuredness, in that confidence that God has you, and you will find yourself entering into his peace and his rest. Talk soon.